Sugar in 5 minutes. So sugar in 5 minutes. Sugar isn't inherently bad, it isn't inherently evil. Sugar, what you should know about sugar is converted to glucose in the bloodstream. So we measure sugar as blood glucose. Now, the reason why that's important is because blood glucose is a marker of how fast we can basically lose and utilize body fat. So let's say, for example, if you go to your doctor today and you get a blood test done, your blood glucose, your fasted blood glucose might come back at 6. Well, 6 is very high, or it might come back at, say, 4.2, which is reasonably okay, or maybe even 3.2, which may be heading towards the hypoglycemic side. Anyway, the point being, in your bloodstream at any one time, you have about 5 grams or a teaspoon of glucose circulating your bloodstream. That's not exactly accurate, because if it was exactly 5 grams, that's actually a little bit on the high side. So it's about 3.4, 3.5, around about your fasted blood glucose. So in saying that, we need to obviously moderate our blood glucose, we need to moderate our blood sugar. This is why our choices is we don't want to choose foods that are high in, well, not specifically carbohydrate content, but we don't want to be choosing foods that are specifically high in sugar content. So say, for example, a can of Coca-Cola. A can of Coca-Cola has about 30 grams of sugar in a can. So that's 6 times more sugar than what our blood glucose needs. So you could ask the question, we consume a Coca-Cola, an orange juice, a sandwich, or even some rice, over a meal. We've got to look at how much total glucose or total carbs we're consuming at that one meal. That's going to elevate our blood glucose, that's going to elevate our blood sugar. Now, what's going to happen from that is there's a hormone called insulin that's secreted from the pancreas. That gets secreted to wrangle all that blood glucose out from the blood where it can do real harm into somewhere where it's going to be reasonably safe. So you may have heard of diabetics who have to have their limbs removed, or their fingers, or their eyes, or even their feet amputated. And the reason for that is because you've got to look at the capillaries behind the eye and in your feet. They're very, very fine. So imagine eating a lolly and then putting it on the table just for a moment and then taking that lolly away. The table then becomes sticky. Now that's kind of the process that is happening in your bloodstream, is that if we have too much sugar in our bloodstream, our blood is becoming sticky and not able to reach those finer capillaries. So this is where low sugar or moderating how much sugar you eat in your diet is very important. And I suppose a low sugar diet, if you can even call it that, which people have then interpreted as a low carbohydrate diet, are very good for getting you healthier. So in saying that, all things need to be moderated, and it's really about your blood glucose. So in saying that, if you have an athlete who's high performing and training very, very hard, obviously they're going to be able to consume a lot more sugar, which then is going to be translated to blood glucose because they're utilizing it to perform. But again, if we have high blood glucose and insulin needs to be basically secreted to wrangle that out, the first place it's going to look, or ideally it will look, is the muscle. So it's going to knock on the muscle door and say, hey muscle, I've got this delivery of blood glucose, can I come in? Now, if you're an active athlete, the muscle will say, come right in, be my guest. Make yourself at home. I've been expecting you because I need you to help me perform. But, if you're a couch potato, glucose or insulin's going to knock on the door of the muscle and say, hey, can I come in? And the muscle's going to say, absolutely not. I've done absolutely no exercise today. My muscle glycogen is full. See you later. So it's going to go somewhere else. It might go to the liver. Knocks on the door of the liver, and the liver says, well, don't really need any glucose, don't want too much, and because I'm part of your body, I love you, I want you to be healthy, if I consume too much of this, I'm going to have fatty liver disease, and I don't want that. I don't want to slow the process of making you healthy down. So insulin, a bit bummed out, not knowing what to do with the glucose, sees this opening, and you can guess where the opening is. It's on the hips, it's on the stomach, it's the fat cells. So it parks it in the fat cells for a rainy day where you might need that glucose when you're under stress. So if you look at the metabolism of sugar, it all obviously needs to be moderated, and it's a lot less than what most people think. So this is where you really want to be making up your diet of healthy foods. As Johnny Bowden taught me many, many years ago, it's the 4 food groups: hunted, fished, gathered, and plucked. I think are the 4 food groups that you can't go wrong with. And I mean, people might call that paleo. I don't really subscribe to it as being paleo per se, but hunted, fished, gathered, and plucked certainly are the best combinations. And if you do have a metabolic syndrome, for example, you are in most likelihood are going to need to go on a very low carb diet. There's probably no way around that, but you can tell these things by getting simple blood tests from your doctor in looking at your blood glucose or blood sugar or fasted insulin or fasted glucose and seeing where your blood sugar is at. And also another good blood marker is HbA1c, which is the long-term I suppose, process of glucose metabolism. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to know more, do reach out, leave your comments below this video, and also leave your comments below letting us know what videos you want me to do in 5 minutes. And if you've really loved it, feel free to share this video all over the web. Love to hear your thoughts, post them below. Until next time, supplement smart, eat well, and train hard.